in desperation, and no one knows what pestilence will be released next. But it's not a time to fear. God's healers are stepping up to the plate all over the earth. There is no better example than Dr. Zelenko's protocol. Dr. Zelenko's Z-Stack is proven to maintain your immune system and keep it resilient and resistant. Go to C2KReport.com and click the Z-Stack logo to join the thousands of people building a resilient and resistant immune system. Save 5% by entering coupon code C2K at checkout. Thank you, Dr. Zelenko, for partnering with C2K. Hello, friends, and welcome to C2K News. That's Clash of Two Kingdoms News. I am Rick Hidalgo. I'm your host, and today is the 20th day of May 2022. Tonight, we start off with a really special one. Check this out.
Because I think that would probably be illegal.
Oh, I know my glasses. I got my...
I'm just picking up garbage. Go in there.
Okay, so that's interesting. January the 6th, a lot of people call it insurrection. It was actually a protest, protesting what people felt was an invalid election. People felt betrayed. People felt unproductive. Okay, unproductive. How would you say that word? I'm not sure. So there's a super interesting video, isn't it? More and more evidence coming out. Every time we see a video, it's a video of somebody doing, some suspicious character who's not been indicted, who's not been who's not been even questioned or detained, or isn't even on the list to be questioned or detained, to be hunted for. To this day, we still don't know who the bomber was. There was a bomber. Remember that? The night before, there was a bomber. And we don't know who that was, which is weird because pretty much with the technology that we have today in law enforcement, that shouldn't be a problem. So how do we look at this now from an ecclesia perspective? Obviously, we see a lot of stuff going on that seems to point towards inside theatrics from within Babylon in order to make those who are, patriotic look like they're some kind of domestic terrorist. Well, the truth is, the real terrorist is Babylon. Babylon is the terror. Babylon are the terrorists. And what we have to do as the ecclesia is we've got to come out of Babylon, and we've got to set up a system with real checks and balances. And the real checks and balances that we're talking about is we've got to set up a system that allows people to be impeached, and impeached quickly. We talk about setting up our houses in the ecclesia. Once you've come out of Babylon and you've authenticated, we talk about setting up your house. Well, your house setup is your governance. And once you have your governance and your neighbors have their governance, you can come together as an assembly of self-governing houses, and you can start to make decisions as to who's going to be your representative at the larger jurisdiction, right? So if you live in a township and you decide, hey, you know what? We're going to be represented by Joe Brown. And Joe Brown is going to represent us at the county. Okay? And so Joe Brown goes down and he represents you guys and your will, your desire at the county. This is something you can have direct influence on as you begin to create these self-governing apparatuses, your own self-governing house, your own embassy. It's what we teach at the C2K report. It's what we teach in our classes that we conduct. We teach people how to come out of Babylon, how to counter Babylon when they attempt to solicit you, and we teach people how to actually set up a self-governing apparatus in such a way that it tethers itself to the kingdom of God, and you owe no obligation to Babylon. So this is what we do, and January the 6th is just a perfect example of why we need to do this and need to do it quickly. You think this is the last time that the Babylonian system is going to attempt to set up good people? Absolutely not. I mean, false flags have been around since the 12, 13, 1400s at least. You could, of course, call the Trojan horse a false flag. There's just so many examples of these false flags. In fact, I guess you could go back to Haman in a situation in the book of Ruth. That was also a false flag. There have been false flags for a very, very long time. And they're not going to stop anytime soon, because it's a very convenient way to handle a very inconvenient truth, and that is that Babylon is not a nice master, is not a good master. It's a master that you hate. So we've got some work to do for sure. But there, let's go on to a little bit of good news. I want to show you something that I've been following for a while, and you might be shocked that I follow this, but I want to show you anyway.
Sephora has cut ties with beauty influencer Amanda Ensing.
They harassed her and she lost the deal.
The silencing of conservative voices has now become common practice.
We're going to fight this nonsense. We're going to push back against this cancel culture mob.
You're going to show them all with your own makeup brand. You want to change the beauty culture.
They can't cancel your voice. We live in America. This is a free country.
So Amanda Ensing is a Latin woman who used to do some makeup tutorial work for Sephora. Sephora is a makeup company distributor that he works exclusively with. I think it's JCPenney's, some outfit like that. Sephora, when they found out that Amanda Ensing was a Christian, was a conservative, and was a very, very much a patriot, and a well-spoken one, by the way, they canceled her. Cancel culture hit her square in the face in the middle of the pandemic. And Amanda Ensing has been fighting back by going on different podcasts with some very big names. I think she was on with Lara, was it Laura Trump, and all these really great top well-known conservative outfits that she went on. And she's been working at developing her own brand now for a couple of years. And this summer, the summer of 2022, Amanda Ensing is going to launch her own brand. Watch this.
The beauty industry has lost touch with reality. It went from makeup has no rules to align with what's politically correct or you're not included. What used to be a space filled with positivity now lies a wasteland filled with judgment, criticism, and stereotypes. Beauty used to be fun. It used to be for everyone. And now it's just a place where brands push agendas and narratives. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of beauty brands pushing propaganda down our throats. When did makeup become political? The world is shifting, and I think it's about time the beauty industry leveled up. It's time for a brand to rise, to shine light in the darkness for such a time as this. It's been a long journey and years in the making. This is why I've created Elevate Beauty, because empowering women means raising their voices, not silencing them.
So as you can see, right, Amanda is fighting back. She's launching her own makeup brand this summer, and I think it's fantastic that she's doing that. I don't know much about her brand. I don't know much about her product. I don't know much about any of it. All I know is that I, as a man, love to see women who are outspoken about their faith in Jesus Christ and are outspoken about their love for their country. And Amanda Ensing is one of those. So I want to advocate for her. I want to stand in the gap for her. And I want to tell you guys the listening audience of C2K News that Amanda Insing is a worthy follow. If you're on social media, Truth Social, if you're on, I think she's a big Instagram contributor. I don't think she's on Twitter anymore. She got kicked off of Twitter, although we are at Real C2K Report. We are on Twitter, and I invite you to follow us there. I can't get on Truth Social yet because I have an Android device, so I'm waiting for the Android device to launch so that I can get on Truth Social. But until then, I would really urge you guys to go and to follow her and give her as much support as you possibly can. Whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. We're standing behind people who love the Lord and love this country. Are you tired of fake news and cancel culture? Me too. Stay informed and stay free by subscribing to the only paper that I read, the Epic Times. Subscribe today and get the Epic Time for just $1 the first month. Yes, that's right, just $1 the first month. And because you're a listener of the C2K Report, you'll get a discounted monthly subscription of just $77. Not the $99 that everybody else has to pay, but the $77 that you as a C2K listener get to have. So simply use the promo code C2K to enjoy the lowest rate available. Go to C2KReport.com, click on the Epic Times logo on our homepage, and it'll bring you here. Simply enter the promo code C2K to enjoy the lowest savings ever. Thank you, Epic Times, for partnering with the C2K Report.
CNN's exciting update on Bill Gates' fake breast milk. Lab-grown human milk may be just 3 years away. Breast milk is the perfect food for babies, but not all mothers are able to breastfeed. They're calling it bio milk. What exactly is it made out of? Well, it actually comes partially from actual humans. It says here, BioMilk team creates its product from cells taken from human breast tissue and milk, donated by women in the local community who get a Target gift card in return. Hey, do you like shopping at Target? Give us a segment of your breast and you'll get a gift card. That's what it says here. BioMilk grows the cells in flasks, feeding them nutrients, and then incubates them in a bioreactor that mimics the environment in a breast. Is this really going to be safe for your kid?
So you can't make this up. I mean, BioMilk, first there's a shortage of infant formula, right, for those who cannot have breast milk because there's been an agenda to push all kinds of GMOs and all kinds of bad habits that we have as Americans. We don't eat right. We don't exercise. There's a lot of things that we don't do correctly, and it causes adverse issues with our progeny. And now we have the situation where we don't even have formula available, so people are resorting to all kinds of things. And lo and behold, in the midst of a formula apocalypse, what comes out of nowhere? Oh, Bill Gates just happened to have a plan. Wow, that is so amazing. So amazing that this guy's got a crystal ball on his desk that he can look into, and he can see that we're going to need this thing called BioMilk. Wow. What could be next? Do you suppose he's been working on a monkeypox vaccine? I don't know. I'm just saying it's amazing how this guy is so on top of it, isn't he? I mean, it's not like he's buying up lots of farmland across America in the midst of a shortage of food. Oh, wait, he is. Oh, it's almost like there's some kind of a plan involved, but that's conspiracy theory. That's a conspiracy theory, and we're not going to go there. I mean, I don't want to be tagged as a conspiratorial show, all right? We're not a conspiratorial news show. We just talk about the facts and talk about how it directly affects the ecclesia. Because after all, the ecclesia needs land. We need to separate from Babylon. We need to tell Babylon, bye-bye. We're out of here. Sayonara. See you later. We don't want anything to do with you. We are now going to function as the ecclesia that we were meant to function as from the beginning. Yes, that is what we're going to do. Whether Bill Gates creates biomilk or monkeypox vaccines or whatever it is that Bill Gates wants to do on his Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Okay? I don't really care what Bill Gates does. What I care about is what the ecclesia does. And our answer to what Bill Gates is doing and others of his ilk are doing, our answer needs to be bye-bye Babylon, hello ecclesia, infrastructure. Okay? That is exactly what we need to be doing as the ecclesia. And guess what? We're doing it. So come on board. Come on board. Now, guys, here is another video. I want you to see this.
And the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq, too. Anyway, 75.
The decision of one man to brutally attack another country like Iraq. Oh, yeah, I meant Ukraine. Excuse me. I mean, Iraq too. Right? Hello? Like, are we living in really weird times right now where they're actually disclosing what they've actually done? At what point are we going to see Mr. Bush sit in a corner in a fetal position and start talking about steel and planes? You know, like the class that he went to on the day of 9/11, you know, when they were talking about steel and planes and crash and burn and all these words were coming up in the vocabulary lesson of this particular book that they were reading. Really? That was on the morning of 9/11. Oh, but, you know, hey, what a coincidence. I mean, look, you know, it's like me going to a library. And when I get to the library, a person is reading a book. And they start to develop a vocabulary list out of the book. And these are the words that they choose because I'm in the building. They say ecclesia, infrastructure, now, separation, bye-bye Babylon. Wow! Would that just not be the most coincidental thing in the history of mankind? I mean, would that not just be so coincidental? It's almost as if they saw me walk in the room and they wanted to say something nice, right? They wanted to say something nice. It's like George Bush walking in the room. I mean, think about it. Walking in the room where you're teaching a lesson about planes and steel and fire. I mean, you know, hey, you can't make this stuff up. It's just so good. It's so good. So you don't believe me? Go check it out. You can go to YouTube. I'm still there too. You know, classroom, morning of 9/11. Type that in. Classroom. Morning of 9/11. Go check it out for yourself. I mean, you can't make it up. All right? You can't make it up. And here he is, like, just joking in kind of a sinister type of way. He's like joking, saying, yeah, you know, the audacity of this guy to attack Iraq. Well, I mean, excuse me, I mean Ukraine. Iraq too. Really? I mean, these guys, either it's part of some kind of a divine plan for disclosure to finally be coming out. So these people, although he's 75 years old, that was his excuse, right? 75. I'm 75. Either disclosure is coming out regardless, or these guys are just ignorant. I don't know the answer to that question, but I am really shocked at the pace at which the disclosure is coming forward. It is like a waterfall, okay? Like a waterfall. Speaking of waterfall, I've literally been having waterfalls of pain in my thumb. Yes, in my thumb, because I am a meat cutter. I have an answer to that pain. Watch this. Are you in pain? I am. I cut meat for a living, and as a meat man, I have a really sore thumb on my cutting hand. I recently went to a conference where I was introduced to a pain patch that I fell in love with. QE Strong has a line of incredible products that relieve pain. The special patches emanate a frequency that is scientifically proven to bring fast pain relief. I know it works because I use it. To get some of these patches, go to www.c2kreport.com and click on the QE Strong box on the homepage. Click on the QE Strong box on our homepage. Then click the check availability button and order a few boxes of skin patches today. Order some for yourself and order some to give away to your neighbors. Thank you, QE Strong, for partnering with the C2K Report. And last but not least, in our 30-minute news segment, Bill de Blasio. You remember this guy in New York? Bill de Blasio. He was like the mayor of New York, right? He's back. He's like Johnny from, what was that show? The Shining, right? I'm back. He says, Bill de Blasio is back once again. Check this out, right? Check this out. Former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio to seek election to newly drawn. Jerry rig. Anybody ever heard of jerry rigging? Newly drawn New York House seat. Ah, yes. Here's the guy who couldn't even survive as the mayor of New York because of the failed policies that he literally advocated during the pandemic, okay? Everybody cannot stand his guts, and here he is running for a House seat. Isn't that amazing? A guy who let BLM and Antifa just run free in the streets of New York while law-abiding citizens, people who don't want to hurt each other, that's what I mean by law, right? Law-abiding people who don't want to hurt each other literally had to huddle in their houses in order to stay away from these crazy lunatics on the street. Yeah, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So, how does the ecclesia react to Bill de Blasio running for a House seat? We ignore it. We don't care if Bill de Blasio is running for a House seat in New York. First of all, that House seat doesn't represent us. Do you think Bill de Blasio represents the ecclesia in his district? Whatever ecclesia there is in his district is certainly not represented by Bill de Blasio. So that district needs to rise up and say, we are done with this. We are not going to support anybody who runs to attempt to represent us because nobody ever represents us. We've never been represented. When's the last time that somebody's actually come your way and said, hey, how would you like me to represent you? And if they did, how successful was it? How successful was it? I bet you it wasn't successful at all. You know why? Because they are not the gods of Babylon. They too have been in some way affected by the gods of Babylon. The gods of Babylon are the judges and attorneys. They are the ones who enforce that which they want to enforce and let go that which they would prefer to let go. Guys, it is time for us to serve God and serve God alone. We can no longer participate in this Babylonian system. It is time to come out. It is time to form your own housely government, your own house government, and it is time for you to function through your ministry to benefit the kingdom of God alone on this earth. Okay? And never give another penny to Babylon as long as you can help it. That is what we must do. And that is my final word. So with that, I want to say, may God richly bless you. And if you're around at the end of July in Ohio, come see us. Come see us. We'll be in Ohio at the Go Therefore conference being put on by Dr. Mike Spalding. Come see us. Everything we do here at the C2K News, it's all about the blood.